Welcome to Phil Holton's Woodturning shop. Today is kind of our Star Trek version, going where no one has gone before. This is something that's kind of new for me, which is off-center or eccentric or off-axis woodturning. And I don't know if you've seen any of this before. The cam on a car engine is off-center turning. That some of you know what a cam means. And I've been learning about this. I have a chuck that helps me to do that. But it can range from off-center turning, and I'm going to do a little bit of this in which I'm just manipulating where the centers are to get different shapes, to moving to where not only do I move side by side, but this is also tilting quite a bit. And this chuck right here, and you can see what's developing on here, is a couple of different axes. When I take those much further, then you can see that I end up with something like this. Here's one where three of them have been glued together. You see that the top here is very unusual, that I've turned this first with one center, and then I've shifted it over to another center. So those are turned side by side. Very unusual. What I'm going to do right now is to start out with this so you can see what it's like to just be moving it off a little bit between centers. This is something that anybody could do in their own shop. So we're going to mount this in the lathe like this. We'll bring the center over. And I've tried to be very careful to make sure that this is held in carefully because I don't want this jumping all around. But this is definitely going to be dancing around like crazy on here. It would not be the first thing you'd want to do starting out in wood turning because it will jump around a little bit. I'm just going to get some of the mass of wood out of the way here. I'm using what's called a safety center here, and obviously I need to push a little harder on it. But it means that if I get a catch, it will just spin the wood instead of breaking something or scaring me too much. So you see, we're really jumping around on there. And I'm going to make two more cuts here. I'll go down to make a cut, and then we'll shift it over one more time. Okay, so we're coming across here. I've just about reached the edge of this, and that's where I'm going to switch to another tool. So I'm kind of watching the shadows in there. And then we're cutting some of the mass of wood away. I'm going to just shut this down so you can see what's happening. So you can see I'm turning up against this one, which has a very different center. I'm very careful not to go over too far so I bump into something else that I don't want to be messing with. And I'm going to switch to another tool that's going to square off the bottom very nicely and square it off with this. We're almost ready to stop this and see what happened. So are we far enough? Okay. So you see, and now we're going to shift it one more time. And I think we'll go over to this edge. I don't know that we can go quite that far. Let's go kind of halfway. oh, what have we got to lose here? Okay, see, we're getting pretty far out of round there. We'll take her kind of slow. Take her kind of slow, but you see all those shadows flying around in there. That's, but as long as we've got that more solid piece in the middle, it means that we have enough wood to finish this piece. Now, it's not that I know what I want to do with this piece. I guess I'm just learning. Now we'll get a little more of this wood out. This is the last cut on the piece. I know we can't make this too small. Okay, we just keep going in. Yeah. Let's take a look and see how we're doing here. Okay, we're going to go a little further over there. I happen to know that this piece of wood came from a piano company that disappeared many years ago. So it's a very old piece of wood. And it's fun to work with. Okay, here we go. Just a couple more cuts and we're ready with this piece. Okay, so look at what we've done. Some would call that a mess. Okay, now we're going to take another piece and we are going to put it on the chuck. I have to knock this center out. Now I'm going to bring this piece over from the chuck. This is what's going to give us an even more extreme, because not only does it move side to side, but this ball in here can swing widely. It also has some weight, so this is a pretty expensive chuck. It's by a company called Vicmark, and Estefan Escolen, who is really the best off-center turner in the world, is the one who's developed this. And this would definitely not be the first kind of turning that you've ever done. This is some beautiful wood called Brazilian rosewood. And it's the most prized wood for guitar backs, but you can't get it anymore. But about 20 years ago, I needed a dining table, and I went to Goodwill in St. Paul, and they had a dining table with 8 chairs made of Brazilian rosewood. They were terrible chairs. They all fell apart, but I've cannibalized all the legs, and I'm now making things on my lathe out of that beautiful wood. So here we are. This is the way I've made those pieces over there, that the wood is moving in many centers. Okay, you see what's happening there? Okay, I'm just going to shift this quickly so that you can see how that works, and then we'll be ready. I'm not going to finish this, but now I loosen this, and I just want you to see how then I can shift this whole piece to another place, and we'll make another cut. So let me just take you over to get you an idea now. So this is how I made those pieces and this piece, both off-axis and off-center. So welcome to the going where no turner has gone before, off-center turning. Thanks so much for coming to Phil Holton's Wood Turning Shop, and please check me out at philholton.com.